Today I'm going to talk about all of my picks from UK Games Expo 2019, right after this. Hey everyone, Sam here from the Tabletop Hub, your one-stop shop for all things tabletop, and I attended UK Games Expo for the very first time a few weeks ago, and it was just absolutely fantastic. Now before we go any further, of course, I do know UK Games Expo was probably at least a month ago now. I apologise for me taking so long to get my UK Games Expo coverage. I've been moving house. I'm finally now somewhat all set up and ready to keep making videos, so expect a plethora of UK Games Expo videos coming out on the channel over the next couple of weeks, just as I share all of the really cool games that I find. Today what I want to do is actually chat about 6 things that I saw at the expo that really impressed me that I think you all should know about. Now I'll equally leave links in the video description to where you can go and find these games, or just check out the developer's site if the thing I'm talking about hasn't been released yet as well. Talking about not having released yet, Battle Systems were showcasing their Fantasy Terrain at UK Games Expo, and honestly I was completely blown away. So I've featured Battle Systems Sci-Fi Terrain a couple of times here on the channel, and I have more content showcasing their work on the way, but just before the expo they teased some images of medieval fantasy terrain that they were making, and the images just looked fantastic. The curved roofs, the detail work, it all looked fantastic in the images, but I was curious to see how it would hold up in person. Put simply, it looked great. So this is going to be coming to Kickstarter within the next month. I was chatting to Stu from Battle Systems about this, and from what I can recall, there will be 2 pledge options. One for a battlefield setup, which will include some ruined buildings and walls. Then there will be a town setup, where you'll get the awesome looking building that you see in the promo images. Now this is definitely one you want to keep an eye on if you're into games like Song of Ice and Fire, Vanguard, or you could even use this in your D&D games as well. One company that I had come across on the run-up to UK Games Expo was Cerberus Studios, or Kerberos Studios, whichever way you want to pronounce it. So this is a relatively new company that is producing some absolutely stunning miniatures. Benjamin, who runs the company, was chatting to me about the 2 storylines or worlds that they're developing, Mortal's Reckoning and Celestial Affinity. And honestly, the lore is like something taken out of a Greek tragedy. It is just absolutely amazing and really engrossing as well. Mortal's Reckoning is a story of betrayal and trickery as a mysterious emissary lures people to his cause in an attempt to ascend to godhood. The lore is all on their site, and I'd highly recommend you go read it, but the miniatures Benjamin is producing here are just stunning. The idea is that at some point this will develop into a game, but for right now I'd highly recommend checking these miniatures out as characters for your D&D campaigns, as well as just for a really awesome looking diorama piece. Their new miniature, the Goddess, would definitely be a great miniature for that. Next, I managed to stop by Devir Games while at the expo. They had a few new games that they were showcasing, and one that caught my eye was Lavina. Now, every time I'm at an event like this, I'm always on the lookout for a game that I can bring home to play with folks who aren't necessarily hardcore tabletop and board gamers. At Tabletop Gaming Live, it was Doomseeker and Escape the Dark Castle, and those games have gone down incredibly well with my family and my wife, who all really enjoy playing them. With Lavina, I spied some potential for the same. So in Lavina, players travel through a vineyard gathering grapes to make wine. They then sell that wine for points, and whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. The game is really beautifully put together, yet simple to understand when you look at it, and I'm really looking forward to getting this on the table, so expect a review very soon. Speaking of games for the family, Wing It was another one. This game was kind of like a storytime game on crack, really. Everyone has a hand of cards with story prompts on them, primarily made up of items, and the GM for the round will draw a story card. For example, here's one. You are a burglar and you have just broken through the window of a grand Victorian mansion, only to find that it is occupied by your ex-spouse cooking up a tasty dinner. You then use 3 cards from your hand to explain what you would do, and the GM picks a winner from those stories, and the winner gets a point. Super simple concept, but almost infinite replayability, and it is a ton of fun. Now, one war game that I've had my eye on for some time now is Conquest by Parabellum. They have been teasing this game for what seems like ages because they keep posting images of new miniatures and new warbands and factions and units, and they look stunning. And every time I see them, I'm like, is this game out now? Can it please be out now? I want this in my hands. It's not out yet, but it will be very, very soon. The miniatures for the game, like I said, they're absolutely amazing. I think they're 32mm, they're either 32 or 38mm, but the detail is fantastic. For me, I just wasn't too sure about it because at the end of the day, do I really need another war game to get into? And the answer is probably yes. Probably yes, yeah. The game is really quite streamlined. You don't need 5 rulebooks on the table to play it. Gameplay is really quite fast. There are just a few mechanics that take a little getting used to, but if you're on the lookout for a war game to sink your teeth into, Conquest definitely could be the one to do it. For me, I'll likely wait until they release the Nord faction, which I think has a November release date. They just look absolutely amazing. I actually got my hands on a couple of cavalry miniatures from the event, so I'll probably do a little kind of my attempt at painting guide on those just to show you what the miniatures look like. Finally, Super Fantasy Brawl from Mythic Games. This is a game that Mythic announced last year, I believe, and they've been quite quiet about it since then, popping up every now and again to give us a little sneak peek. But the game had a presence at UK Games Expo, and I managed to get a behind closed doors session playing through the game too. I'm going to be making a dedicated video just for this game, just because I liked it so much. But Super Fantasy Brawl is a tabletop arena game. There are no dice, there's just cards, and what I love about it is on the surface you look at the game and think, yeah, this seems easy enough to play. And it is. But a couple of turns in, you start to strategize and think ahead, and that's when you realize that there is so much depth to this game for those people who really want to sink their teeth into it. It's coming to Kickstarter on the 25th. Like I say, I'll be making a standalone video for the game, going deeper into my thoughts on it. But genuinely, this is a game that you're going to want to pick up, or at least definitely look into. But folks, there are 6 things I saw at UK Games Expo that I really loved. There are other pieces of info I picked up that I'll be sharing in other videos, but I really enjoyed myself at this event, and I'm most likely going to start saving up to go again next year. In the meantime, please do go and support the devs and the games I've talked about today by checking out their links in the video description. But in the meantime, thank you so much for spending some time out of your day here on my channel. If you want to be kept up to date with when my new videos go live, hit the subscribe button. But until next time, have a great week. I will, of course, speak to you all soon.